Why do we, man? I'm just on fire today. I'm not gonna lie. I'm on absolute fire. I have an expressive conversation to have with you guys. Why do we look up to people like Mike Tyson, great boxers, Floyd Mayweather, soccer players, CR7, Messi, Ronaldo, Sergio Ramos, Zlatan, who sees himself to be God. He sees himself to be Allah. Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. And he's a kafir. When in reality we have examples such as the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who people try to paint in a bad image. These kuffar, they try to paint the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam in a bad image. When he was in battle alone against an army, his companions were not there. And in the battle, imagine you're an army, you're facing one man, you're like, what is this, you know? And Allah tells him, oh Muhammad, you will fight even if you are alone. So the Prophet ﷺ marches forward, screaming, I am the Prophet of Allah. I am the Prophet of Allah. And there arrows are raining down around him. Imagine, like you're trying to hit the target. You've got the best marksmen, you've got the best archers, and you're facing a one-man army. And you're like, why is nothing hitting? And he's saying, I'm the Prophet of Allah. That'll shake an individual. Wallahi, that'll shake an individual. Like, I'm shooting at this man, nothing's hitting him, nothing's damaging him, and he's screaming, I am the Prophet of Allah. I might, if I'm the opposing side, I might actually doubt. Man, is he the Prophet of God, of the Creator of the heavens and the earth? Like, I might need to stop shooting my arrows. Psychologically, that'll mess up any individual. A bunch of men just shooting arrows at him, and they're all missing. And what the hell's going on? He might be the Prophet of Allah. We might need to stop. Or Khalid ibn Walid, when they were in the Battle of Yarmouk. The Battle of Yarmouk was not only one day, it was a couple of days. It was more than a couple of days. I think 9 days, give or take. And, you know, they were facing the Arabs at the time, because the Arabs were not Muslims at the time, unfortunately. And they were teaming up with the Persians, because the Persians were getting dominated, the Romans were getting dominated, everybody's getting dominated. Left, right, and center. And Khalid, you know, with the taqwa that he had, with the tawakkul that he had, he's like, I'll go fight them on my own. 60,000 men. He wants to go fight 60,000 men. Fi sabilillah. And I'm just thinking, and imagine the taqwa you have to be like, yeah, Allah got me. Like, okay, like in Islam we have like taking the means, we have taking the measures, having the right amount of man, having the right weapon. Khalid's like, I'm the weapon. I'm the sword of Allah. And, you know, his companions are like, oh, yeah, Khalid, you know, like, chill out, you know, like we need to take the means. And so somebody suggests 30 men. And they're like, we might need a little bit more than that. So we need to take the means. And so they're like, okay, they come to an agreement that they will take 60. Mind you, 60 is taking the means. 60 men is taking the means. And how did they choose these men? What characteristics were they looking for? Were they looking for the strongest man? Were they looking for the man that was trained? And no, they picked all of these men from the Ansar, and they picked the Sahaba from amongst them. All of these were, I think, the Sahaba. And so they go, and this is taking the means. And Khalid, I think, went to go in and seek out who amongst this army shall we choose the 60 men. And at night time, Khalid goes out and sees who's making dua, who's praying the night prayer. Who, when he makes his dua, Allah accepts his dua. These men knew victory is from Allah. It is not from the strength of a man. It is not from the wildness or the courageousness of the man. It is from the victory is from who when he makes dua, Allah doesn't question his dua. Allah answers his dua straight away. And so they go and they take their 60 men. They found from amongst those men who were crying at night, begging Allah. Wallahi, this puts us to shame. Wallahi, yesterday I was listening to this from Shaykh Uthman ibn al-Faruq. It put me to shame, wallahi. And so they go and these men, they go It's 60 men. They think it's the Arab army. I think men around 60,000. They see 60 men coming. They think it's a retreat. They think it's a surrender. They're like, oh, it's just 60 men. You know, they're like, it's kind of like, okay, we're gonna really put the conditions upon them. We're really gonna make them make it difficult upon them. Their conditions for surrender. And they meet them and they say, okay, so what do you guys want? You know, like, okay, you guys are surrendering. Obviously, it's only 60 men against our 60,000. Khalas. And Khalid's like, no, we came to fight. Radiallahu anhu. We came to fight. We came to dominate, to conquer. And they're like, what? Like, because the thing is, they know that if they go back to their other army, the Romans and the Persians, they're gonna be like, bro, why'd you guys kill 60 men? Like, this is an embarrassing battle. Little did they know, victory is from Allah. Little did they know. And so the battle commences. They're like, screw it, you know, we gotta do it. I mean, this is their men, this is what they're gonna fight with. So no problem. We're gonna wipe them out. This is what they're thinking. We're gonna wipe these guys out. It's only 60 men. And think about this. They think that the victory is from the numbers. And so 60 men go out, and some say it was groups of 6s and some say it was groups of 10. And bro, they kill 6,000 of the Arabs. 60 men kill 6,000 Arabs. Slaughter them. They ended up retreating. 60,000 men, males, retreated from 60 on that day. They were embarrassed. Embarrassed. The casualties were 6,000 men. And I think it was mentioned from amongst those men, from the Sahaba, only 10 died. Only 10. 10% versus 10%. Bro, like imagine you're facing an army of 6,000 people. Okay, I get it, 600 they easily dominate, relatively. Even then, that's crazy to imagine. 1 for 1 is like 50-50 chance. But each of those men was worth 1,000 men that day. Each of those men was worth 1,000 men. Think about that. Think about that, my brothers. Wallahi. Like, we think about this guy being the greatest boxer and the greatest, most skilled marksman or warrior. The Sahaba, they made 60,000 grown men run away from 60, retreat, surrender. almost surrender, not surrender completely, but retreated. 60,000 men. Imagine the embarrassment. Like, you're telling your army, okay, so did you guys how many men did we lose? 6,000. Okay, did you guys kill them? No, 50 were left. like you're gonna beat the hell out of the commander, whoever the hell. Like, what the hell just happened? What did they just wiped you guys with 60 men? And this goes to show you, wallahi, victory is not from the number of men or the qualifications or the strength of men. Victory is from Allah. Hell, Khalid was gonna go in there alone, and I bet Allah would have granted him victory, and those same very men would have retreated. Khalid's like, let me go out alone. If Allah granted him victory, He would have granted him victory. He would have been victorious. And so, like, we hear of these examples, and we think, oh, you know, that was back then. No, the same Allah that allowed 60 men to defeat 60,000. The same Allah that allowed Musa to split the Red Sea is the same Allah that is awaiting for you. He's waiting on you to make that dua, to ask of Him. For indeed He's the causer of affairs. He's given us the examples of the Sahaba. We hear these stories and we're like, oh, that's old times. And then we see these fighters today and we're like, oh man, he's so great. And he slipped the jab and he hit him with... Bro, look, imagine 60 men versus 60,000, making the 60,000 run away. Like Royal Rumble. And they dominated, bro. They dominated. Like, that's just a story that should put any man to shame. For him ever doubting Allah in any single manner, any single form. For you to doubt Allah for even a second, for even an hour, for a day, for a month, for a year, is disrespectful to Allah. Because you're a Muslim. And wallahi, it's just crazy that such a matter can occur. and you don't put your trust fully and solely on Allah. For indeed Allah grants victory to the one who worships Him alone. And the one who worships Him alone is always victorious against any disbeliever. Because what is 60,000 against 60 who are living? Because the Prophet ﷺ, Khalid, reported from Khalid radiallahu anhu, said, didn't you hear the Prophet ﷺ saying that the difference between the ones who remember Allah and the one who doesn't is like the living and the dead? So why do we take these kuffar as examples? Why do we take these boxers and these champions and these football players and these soccer players as examples? When we have the best of examples, the Prophet ﷺ. When we have Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu as an example. Barakallahu feekum. I hope this video drives you and eliminates any doubt that the shayateen will try to inflict upon you. And I hope that this video instills some courageousness into you. So go and attack the matters of your life. And understand that Allah will grant you victory if you have tawakkul and have taqwa. And tackle everything head on. Barakallahu feekum and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.